Most modern truck engines struggle to reach 150,000 miles. Some fail long before that. Heat, complexity, and weak materials take them out while you're still paying the loan. But a few engines don't care about any of that. They run 200,000 miles and 300,000. Some pass 500,000 without opening the block. They weren't built for marketing. They were built for survival. Today we're looking at the engines that outlast the trucks around them, machines with proven records from real owners, real mechanics, and decades of hard use. Engines that stay cool when others boil over. Engines that age slowly while everything else wears out fast. Engines that turn an old pickup into a long-term investment instead of a financial trap. If you're searching for a truck that won't die at the worst possible moment, this list matters. Because once you understand why these engines last, you'll never look at the modern market the same way again. Chevrolet 4.3-liter Vortec V6. Some engines fight against failure from the moment they start. This one barely notices it. The Chevrolet 4.3-liter Vortec V6 doesn't survive because it's simple. It survives because its architecture was engineered to resist the three forces that destroy most truck engines: heat, stress, and friction. You see it as the miles climb. The truck develops rattles, the suspension loosens. But the Vortec keeps its idle steady and its tone controlled, even past 250,000 miles. Owners call it the engine that doesn't panic, because under load or temperature swings, it behaves like nothing is happening. The design explains everything. This V6 is essentially a small block V8 with two cylinders removed, which means the bottom end inherits the strength of a platform built for far more power than it ever produces. The cast iron block absorbs heat without distortion. The crankshaft rotates on a foundation meant for a heavier and harder working engine. And the oiling passages maintain consistent flow even when maintenance is less than perfect. When GM upgraded the engine with sequential fuel injection, it didn't weaken the platform. It cleaned the combustion process. It reduced internal deposits. It made the long-term behavior more predictable, something rare in an era when new systems often shorten engine life. Compression tests on high-mileage units confirm the pattern. The cylinders wear slowly, evenly, and with almost mathematical consistency. But the Vortec isn't indestructible. It can develop intake gasket leaks at high mileage. It can run rich when sensors age. Yet these issues rarely threaten the block, the rotating assembly, or the core reliability that made this engine a legend. They are repairs, not endings. Mechanics understand this engine the moment they hear it. When a Vortec comes into the shop, they expect it to run. Maybe rough, maybe tired, but running because the structure refuses to collapse under normal truck abuse. And that is why the 4.3 Vortec earned its place on this list. It wasn't built to impress. It was built to outlive the problems that kill most engines long before the odometer reaches numbers this one treats as the beginning. Toyota 3.0-liter 3V ZE. Most truck engines fight against time. This one feels like it was built with time on its side. The Toyota 3-liter V6 doesn't win by raw power. It wins by refusing to fail under the conditions that destroy other engines. Owners from Arizona to British Columbia tell the same story. The body rusts, the suspension ages, but the engine keeps its rhythm mile after mile, even past 300,000. One driver lost a transmission at 260,000 miles, yet the original V6 kept running smooth, with no overheating and no smoke. The secret isn't a single component, it is a philosophy. Toyota engineered this motor for long, steady duty cycles, not peak output. It stays cool under load, even on steep grades. The cast iron block absorbs heat that ruins aluminum-based competitors, while the lightweight heads improve efficiency without stressing the bottom end. It is conservative, almost restrained, and that restraint is exactly why it lasts. The engine does have a known flaw: early head gasket failures, but Toyota confronted it directly, issued service bulletins, and upgraded the gasket design. After the correction, long-term failure rates dropped sharply, especially for trucks maintained with proper coolant intervals. Once repaired with the updated gasket, this V6 becomes far more stable than critics remember. What defines the 3VZE is endurance in real-world conditions. It tolerates heat cycles that break modern engines. It forgives late oil changes. It handles off-road abuse without losing compression. And its timing belt, the one part that must be serviced, becomes predictable rather than risky, a fixed cost in an engine that offers almost no surprises. Consumer data shows the same pattern. When the truck around it begins to age, the 3VZE stays steady, consistent, and mechanically calm. That calm is worth money. Engines that stay cool stay clean. Engines that stay clean stay alive. This V6 doesn't ask for attention. It simply outlives the environment it is in. And in a truck market full of overstressed modern powertrains, that makes it one of the smartest long-term bets you can make. Ford 300 Inline 6. Some engines survive by engineering. This one survives by character. The Ford 300 Inline 6 didn't become a legend because it was fast. It became a legend because nothing you did could kill it. Farmers, contractors, and long-haul drivers all tell the same story. The truck changes, the frame ages, but the 300 keeps pulling, keeps idling, keeps firing, even after 300,000 miles of hard use. One owner from Iowa described it perfectly. The truck retired before the engine did. Ford never hid what this motor was built for. Its long stroke layout creates deep, low-end torque, the kind that moves weight without stress. Its 7 main bearings stabilize the crankshaft so effectively that vibration, the enemy of longevity, never has a chance to grow. And the cast iron block is thick enough to be rebuilt again and again, with oversized pistons that revive the engine instead of sending it to the scrapyard. But the real advantage is almost psychological. This engine invites abuse and survives it. Cold starts in winter, full loads in summer, idle hours that would ruin modern high-compression designs. Where other engines develop heat fatigue, the 300 remains calm, stable, and mechanically predictable. Its reliability wasn't perfect. Carburetors needed tuning. Early emissions controls held it back. Fuel economy was never impressive, but none of these issues threatened the core of the engine. When something failed, it was cheap. When something wore out, it was easy to reach. And as the miles stacked up, the bottom end stayed intact. The engine's greatest promise. Consumer data from high-mileage F-Series trucks confirms the same pattern. The 300 Inline 6 doesn't lose compression the way V8s from the same era do. It doesn't overheat as easily. It doesn't develop chronic timing failures. Its architecture is simple, stable, and almost immune to catastrophic damage. In a world where most engines break under pressure, this one seems to grow stronger with age. It may not be fast, it may not be efficient, but it refuses to die, and that alone puts it in a category of its own. The Nissan VQ40DE. Some engines survive by luck. This one survives by engineering. The Nissan 4-liter VQ40DE comes from a respected family. The VQ series earned multiple industry awards. That heritage shaped this truck engine as well. Owners see the effect over time. Frontiers and Xteras pass 200,000 miles with ease. Many go far beyond that mark. One verified Frontier reached 320,000 miles, with the long block untouched. No smoke, no overheating, no loss of power. The design explains the consistency. The block uses ladder frame reinforcement, which keeps the structure rigid under heat. The forged steel crankshaft adds stability. The micro-polished journals reduce friction, wear slows down. The engine stays calm even when pushed hard. Cooling plays a major role in longevity. The VQ40 handles heat unusually well. Its coolant passages are wide and efficient. Hot spots rarely form inside the block. That is why this engine performs confidently in desert conditions. It resists heat cycles that break other designs. It is not flawless. Early engines developed timing, chain guide wear. Owners heard a metallic whine at startup. The issue was real and well documented. Nissan updated the guide materials, and after repair, the problem rarely returned. Consumer data supports the trend. This engine shows low catastrophic failure rates. It delivers stable performance as it ages. Oil pressure remains predictable. Compression numbers stay within tolerance. The power curve barely changes over time. The VQ40 never pretends to be perfect. It simply refuses to weaken. It rewards basic maintenance. It forgives small mistakes, and it keeps its balance mile after mile. That balance is the reason it lasts. Toyota 22R. The Toyota 22R wasn't built for power. It was built to stay alive. For years, this engine pushed Toyota pickups through deserts, forests, job sites, and long highway miles. And it did it with a calm, predictable tone that mechanics still talk about. As the miles rise, the behavior stays familiar. Past 250,000, the idle remains steady. The throttle response stays smooth. The mechanical noise barely changes. Drivers explain it simply. The truck feels old, but the engine feels steady. Its durability came from Toyota's philosophy in the 80s. Build engines that never fight themselves. The cast iron block gives the 22R a rigid base. The aluminum head cuts weight and heat soak. And the timing chain was designed to last the life of the engine. Nothing inside this motor works at the edge. Everything works inside limits that protect the hardware. It wasn't flawless. Early timing chain guides could wear, especially with missed oil changes. A light rattle near the front cover warned you. But once repaired, the engine usually returned to its slow, predictable rhythm for many more years. What sets the 22R apart is how it handles real abuse. Dust, heat, long climbs, heavy loads. It maintains oil pressure. It resists overheating. And because the compression ratio was conservative, detonation was rare even on low-quality fuel. Mechanics often say the same line, the 22R is the last thing to die in a Toyota pickup. Data backs that up. High-mileage engines keep stable compression, cooling stays efficient, and failures bad enough to end the engine usually come from external damage, not internal wear. The 22R doesn't promise eternity. It promises consistency. That consistency keeps a truck working long after the rest of the vehicle has reached its limit. And in the used truck world, that might be the most valuable trait an engine can offer. Longevity is rare in today's truck world. Engines run hotter, work harder, and break sooner. But the 5 engines you saw today prove something important. Durability still exists. It just lives in the places most people stop looking. If you're choosing a used truck, this knowledge matters. It can save thousands. It can protect you from repairs that destroy budgets. And it can turn an old pickup into the most reliable tool you own. These engines earn their reputations through real miles and real evidence. No marketing, no promises, just time, pressure, and results. If you want to understand which modern trucks can match this level of endurance, stay with Gastail. Subscribe for the next story. The engines built today are changing fast, and the truth behind them matters more than ever.